So what and who is Montessori? It all started with this extraordinary woman, Maria Tecla Artemisia Montessori. Maria Montessori was born on August 31st, 1870, in a country called Italy, in the small town of Chiaravalle. This was before the invention of television, and early photographs just started to appear. That is why there is no photograph of her as a baby. Little Maria loved to study, and after graduating from elementary school, she was determined to go to the technical school. Only boys were allowed to go to those schools, and it took a lot of convincing for Maria to have her parents allow her to enroll. But she didn't stop there. She decided to become a doctor and enroll in the University of Rome, La Sapienza Medical School. Becoming a doctor wasn't easy, as Maria was often excluded from lectures and had to come back and study at night by herself. But despite being the only woman in this medical school, Maria Montessori persevered. She graduated with honors in 1896 with the degree of a medical doctor. For the next 5 years, Maria Montessori observed children with mental deficiencies. She developed her materials based on these observations, and children were able to learn to the level of so-called normal children. In 1907, Maria Montessori opened her very first school called Casa de Bambini in the slums of Rome. She recognized the strive of the child for auto-education and created her materials to suit their independent learning. In 1909, Maria Montessori published her first book titled The Montessori Method. It was translated into 10 different languages, and the first 5,000 copies of the English translation sold out in 4 days. Throughout her life, Maria Montessori published many more books and lectures. Some of her famous works include Absorbent Mind, The Discovery of the Child, The Secret of Childhood, Spontaneous Activity and Education, Dr. Montessori's Own Handbook, and Education and Peace. While traveling the world and giving lectures, Maria Montessori inspired many educators and leaders for unity and world peace. She became very famous and was featured on the cover of the Time magazine in 1930. Her face is also found on the Italian money, specifically the 1,000 Italian lira. For her tireless work in education for peace in the times of World War II and fascism, Maria Montessori was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize 3 years in a row, from 1949 to 1951. Dr. Maria Montessori passed away in the year 1952 with her son Mario by her side, leaving us quite a legacy. Her method and materials are still used in Montessori schools today. According to Montessori census, there are more than 20,000 Montessori schools in the world, with more than 5,000 in the United States, and more schools are opening every day. So what brings educators and parents to the Montessori school? Maria Montessori believed that the education of even a small child therefore does not aim at preparing him for school, but for life. Education should aim at developing the child's potential through their interest and freedom of choice. Free the child's potential and you will transform him into the world, she said. The child is endowed with unknown powers, which can guide us to a radiant future. If what we really want is a new world, then education must take as its aim the development of these hidden possibilities. We discover that the education is not something which the teacher does, but that is a natural process which develops spontaneously in the human being. So how do we achieve these aims? Maria Montessori had a special role for the teacher. To stimulate life, leaving it free however to unfold itself, is the first duty of the educator. Maria Montessori believed that the teacher must first observe the children and then prepare the environment to help them learn. It is not enough for the teacher to love the child. She must first love and understand the universe. She must prepare herself and truly work at it. With these high standards, Maria Montessori established Montessori training centers for teachers who will be teaching in the Montessori school. Did you know that a Montessori teacher of each level has to complete between 2 to 4 years of training? In the Montessori method of teaching, there are 4 planes of development. Each plane of development has its corresponding age, strive, and sensitivity. The teacher prepares the environment to stimulate these strives and activities in the classroom. Children have the freedom of choice and movement, but also the responsibility of respect for themselves, others, and the environment. In the Montessori classroom, the students are able to manipulate concrete objects and materials to learn abstract concepts across all subjects. In the elementary classroom, students learn how to construct themselves and the environment, and they practice different roles as they build and sustain a community. The subjects of their studies are put into the cosmic curriculum perspectives, where the origin of all things they study is explored. The learning that happens here is often ahead and beyond the traditional school system. There are professional Montessori organizations that have created a correlation between Montessori curriculum and the Common Core standards. These organizations provide continuous support for the Montessori philosophy and education. There's also Montessori for very busy parents and curious children in the form of short books, websites, and groups. So while Maria Montessori is no longer alive, she gave us a true gift of education for generations to come.